Since 1958, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina has seen racing at Myrtle Beach Speedway. This semi-bank asphalt oval track has seen names such as the Pettys, the Earnhardts, and drivers like Jeff Gordon all take green flags at this facility. It was announced this year, however, that this site would be redeveloped and its operations would be moved to a different facility in nearby counties. It's a track with tons of history, and tonight, it's the Bootleg Racing League who looks to add some more history to it. The question's gonna be, who will add their name to the winners at this famous racetrack? We're about to find out live on the Global SimRacing Channel. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for the third round of 2020 Season 3 of the Bootleg Racing League Grand National Series. I'm Justin Prinzel. On some of the booth tonight is Devin Henry. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Ambrose. He's using cameras provided by Dougie Beer. This is a track with a touching history, with a lot of big names and a lot of big series, all hitting its pavement over its many years of service. Let's take a look at your GSRC lap guide for the best way to get around this very characteristic and difficult short track.
Welcome to Myrtle Beach Speedway. Located in the heartland of NASCAR's core here in the southeastern United States, this track has seen countless legends from the oval racing scene duke it out. With the beautiful scenery of South Carolina as its backdrop, this half-mile oval has an unusual asymmetric D-shape. The 13-degree banking means that the low line tends to be preferred, but that has its own perils for those who like to flirt with the edge. Turns 1 and 2 feature prominent curbing that will knock loose any type of car that dares run over them. On the opposite side, turns 3 and 4 have the pit wall right at the bottom of the banking. Those who attempt to use the apron to help turn the car risk taking damage should they brush the concrete. Both the Petty and Earnhardt families have raced here for multiple generations, meaning those who show up to catch the Saturday night special might just see the next NASCAR legend kick off their career. While the Cup cars haven't visited for a few decades, late models and modified still regularly visit the place. All in all, you can't beat the beauty of the palm trees and a short trip to the beach, both of which are available to fans here at this historic track.
That was a look at your GSRC lap guide for the best way around Myrtle Beach Speedway. It's time to bring my co-announcer for tonight, Devin Henry, and this is a track that is very unique with how you take turn 1 and 2 with the turtles, with 3 and 4 and its tightness and the various different lines you can take to carry speed around this racetrack. It closes in just about a month or so in real life before everything switches over to Florence Motor Speedway for September.
Yeah, an absolute shame. Hate seeing tracks like this with so much character, so much good racing, so much skill you need to try to tame this beast here on this short half mile. And man, it is a monster of types. 13-degree bankings here in the corner at Myrtle Beach. And yeah, it has this weird little dry oval thing in the front straightaway that it almost causes havoc due to how strange and how different the exit of turn 4 is and the entrance of turn 1. But my key word tonight here in this Grand National Series for the Bootleg Racing League is patience. Patience making a pass. Patience on the brakes. Patience on the gas coming off the corner. Patience even on that steering input, because even just the slightest little bit of overcalculation will take that rear end out from under you, and you will be turning the other way in a heartbeat.
Several drivers already having trouble with that throughout practice, but before we look how the driver standings are looking, let's remind you that this series is sponsored by The Cruise Shop, a team of highly experienced travel agents that have a huge passion for travel. The Cruise Shop specializes in cruises, all-inclusive resorts, escorted tours, Disney, family travel, groups, honeymoons, and weddings. I'd love the opportunity to help you plan your next dream vacation. Call them today by going to 260-755-6125. It so happens that Myrtle Beach is a vacation destination with many different amusement parks around the area, but these drivers have had an amusing season so far. J.R. Shepard leads the point standings entering today by 8 points over James Lowe. Those two drivers have shown some fairly decent pace. Lowe, however, has struggled in warm-ups before tonight's event. Bobby Rafferty, Johnny Moore, Todd Liston round out the top 5 entering tonight's action. With that, let's take a look at your race details tonight, Devin, to remind our newest viewers what to expect.
Every single race here as we sit in round number 3 of this season, they are all 100-lap races. You are not allowed to change your tires, so you got to have that tire wear last you all 100 laps, and you only get one fast repair. So don't beat that car up too quick, otherwise that steering's going to come out of alignment real quick, and that's something that you really, really need at Myrtle Beach. And my favorite part about this series, no qualifying. The starting lineup comes from the previous race, and we invert the top 8. So, of course, that means the winner from our last race 2 weeks ago has to start in 8th and work his way up through the field.
And remember, both races, Devin, J.R. Shepard took several laps to cut through the field, saved tires, and took the lead in the closing stages. Now, before we get to the storylines for tonight, I'll remind you of lots of different things, including if you're interested in advertising with GSRC. Our channel's 1 million monthly global impressions are a great way to get your branding seen by a diverse audience. Follow the link in the description below for this broadcast to learn more about the various different advertising packages from GSRC. Lots to talk about in terms of the weather. Very, very cool conditions tonight. 69 degrees Fahrenheit, the track temp. 65 is the air temp for this evening's action.
Yeah, and this is going to be the first race this season where the drivers go, okay, at least it won't also be the heat in the track making me extremely loose. Now, the track is still a little bit warm, right around 70. You see plenty of drivers rubbing that right side up against the wall there in the corners, but at least heat won't be another factor that goes into trying to run around this tough Myrtle Beach Speedway.
Why don't we check in with Mike Allen? He's one of the drivers who has been trying to practice around the track. Let's check in with him as he rolls his way back onto the circuit for his 17th circuit around in warm-up. Thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us, Mike. How are you feeling about the car tonight?
Well, not bad. Just got to save tires, I think.
How difficult will it be to save tires tonight, especially with the trickiness of this racetrack?
It's always hard to save tires here because the track's so abrasive, but just got to do the best you can.
Of course, it's a track with a lot of character and history. We talked about during the pre-race. Its operations moving to Florence in September. What are your thoughts on Myrtle Beach as a whole as a track?
Well, I really like it. I've been there a lot of times, see late model races, and I hate to see it close.
What's your strategy to try and come away with the victory tonight?
Just try to save tires and try to survive. That's the best thing.
Anyone you want to thank for being a part of your car as you prepare for the green flag in about a few minutes or so?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to Lowell, of course, for running the league, and like to thank Clarence's Steakhouse and Reeves Trophy Shop.
Thank you very much for the time, Mike.
Thank you.
Mike Allen, straight to the point. Right now, 13th in this warm-up session. Now, keep in mind, the SK Modified just raced here, Devin, and had several cautions. Cautions bred cautions to the point where some of the lead cars even hit the turtles in 1 and 2 and spun out in front of the field after leading several laps. It's not going to be easy tonight to make sure you keep the car clean, mind you, with the new damage model that's on these Impalas.
Yeah, and Brian Dean, who's not in the session right now, but in the SK Modified race, led 25 laps, a quarter of that race, started on the pole, but ended up the last car on the lead lap, and that gave the race to J.R. Shepard, Johnny Moore, and Justin Moore to fight it out for themselves. But as you can see, a street stock race and an SK Modified race, and guys like J.R. Shepard still trying to find the limit exactly on these cars. And yeah, I mean, there are so many different ways to ruin your race, whether it be the turtles, whether it be too much throttle on exit, whether it be gain into the wall on entry sometimes too. I mean, there's so many pitfalls that you can put yourself in this track, and sometimes 100 laps on old tires, it turns into a little bit of a mental battle as well here.
In that modified race, by the way, Shepard came away with the victory leading 75 laps. Donnie Moore came away in second, though, and he's coming off a decent performance in the last Grand National Series event. Kept the car very clean in that ASPCA machine. Tonight, having a hard time holding onto the steering.
Yeah, I mean, it's just tough. It's just how this track goes, and he has performed really well tonight. 4th place in the street stock race earlier, and as you mentioned, 2nd place in the SK modified race. But more importantly, last season, Donnie Moore, who's 4th in points right now, finished 2nd in this race here at Myrtle Beach. And so there's going to be a number of drivers just from this race from last season, like J.R. Shepard and Donnie Moore, who will be tough to beat. But another guy who has just been fun to watch, Bobby Rafferty. I don't see him in the session yet, but man, I hope he turns up, because he has had some phenomenal runs the past few races here in the series.
Yeah, that goes at P5 at Five Flags Speedway for him. Some good speed shown in that event. However, at the very least, there's one primary dirt driver in the session and on track tonight in practice, Justin Morden. If you remember, back in North Wilkesboro, showed some good speed and battled really well with Rafferty. He's 4th on the board. He also just so happened to crash against the outside wall.
Yeah, this is just a tough track, man. Justin Morden on the podium in the SK modified race. But you look back at last season for him here at Myrtle Beach, ended up in 8th place after starting in 5th. Yeah, had a little bit of incident points here and there, but again, just another difficult part of this track as we watch Kurt Smith run around this track here. 9th place on the board right now, but we talked about the history of this track, and I'm from Arizona. I grew up going to Manzanita Speedway, arguably the greatest track historically across the entire nation that ends up just getting bulldozed for sometimes it feels like no reason, and it's just a shame to see tracks like Myrtle Beach, when they bring great races, when they bring great attendance, when they're a tough track to tame, when they're fun to watch. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun tonight, and I'm really glad that iRacing has this track on here. So even if Myrtle Beach isn't here in the future, we will be able to feel Myrtle Beach at least under our tires here on iRacing.
And we talked about it at North Wilkesboro to start off this season. iRacing has kind of gone towards the direction for some tracks to preserve the history of circuits like this. North Wilkesboro was in that category. Nashville Fairgrounds is coming up, expected to be in that category. Other tracks could be in that category in the future. It's opened up the window, and this is why I think a lot of people love iRacing a lot of times, and their ability to preserve the tracks is, if anything happened to the real-world equivalent, its characteristics are saved by the scan itself into the service for other drivers to learn upon and race on over the generations.
And that even goes back to some of the earliest tracks on this service, including Lakeland USA Raceway and Lanier. Those are 2 tracks that operations, sometimes not, and shutting down. And of course, you got the dirt versions of those. I don't know how precise those are, not because they were dirt a long time ago. But unfortunately, iRacing is becoming a leader in preserving tracks that get torn down or sent out of operation. I say unfortunately because you wish that every track on iRacing would still be around for future generations to race on, but unfortunately, as the years go on, more and more tracks on iRacing are some of those where, unfortunately, guys like me will never get to go out and see a race in person. We'll just have to settle for here, like in the Grand National Series, as these guys are just having a handful on this track.
About a minute or so before these drivers hit the grid, mind you, there was a fair amount of cautions as mentioned in the modified race. At this point, with how slippery and slidey some of these drivers are, how difficult do you think this is going to be to try and not let it be cautions, precautions for this race tonight? Another hit, mind you, for Morden on screen.
I mean, the more I watch these guys, we only have 35 seconds left in practice. I mean, usually at this point, these guys are putting down their race laps, but there are still so many drivers getting contact and hitting the wall. I'm almost thinking that this might change the narrative of this race, where we have a lot of drivers running extremely conservative to start this race off, and maybe towards the end when guys are vying for position, we see a little bit of a change and maybe we'll get some more cautions then. But if I was a driver in this race, I might, there's only 15 cars in the session right now, I might move to the back and just hang out for 50 laps or something. Let my tires kind of stay preserved at least, and then start to gun after people when there might be, say, 5 or 6 cars out of the race, because right now, these guys are struggling here at Myrtle Beach.
15 of these drivers are all set to take to the racetrack. And with that, it's time to line up onto the racetrack and see how the inversion is. And it's put Lil Jewel onto the pole tonight. We've seen him have some good speed at Five Flags Speedway. He gets to be the control car tonight. Chris Wolfson starts in second spot with Todd Liston in the third spot. Michael Redding starts in fourth, and Donnie Moore starts alongside J.R. Shepard in row number 3. James Lowe starts in 7th tonight, and Bruce Pearson rounds out the top 8. Joe Segala starts in P9. Kurt Smith rounds out the top 10, Devin.
In the 44 car, starting 11th is Jeffrey Harden. Ruben Altice in the black and white number 11 will be outside of row 6. Justin Morton in the white and red number 9 will start off in 13th. Mike Allen in the red and white number 59, who we talked to earlier, will be in 14th. And rounding out your field, driving those DuPont Flames in the 24 car is Austin Belke, your 15 car field here at Myrtle Beach.
Once again, distance 100 laps tonight. These drivers ready to attack. 13 degrees of banking in the corners, 4 degrees of banking down the straights, 3 degrees down the back straightaway. Open since 1958. As mentioned off the top of the broadcast, site is being redeveloped for various different residential and commercial projects. Its management moving over to Florence Motor Speedway for a September launch projected after buying that circuit from owner-operator Charlie Powell. I think these drivers, though, are ready to put on an absolute show to try and show what this facility can do under the lights.
Absolutely. There's going to be a little bit more grip than we have seen in past races in this series with the sun down and the track temperature a little lower. But still, just the difficulties of these tracks, of this track in particular, I should say, is going to be a handful for these guys. And I think we might see a show here tonight in the Grand National Series for the Bootleg Racing League.
In control of the field, it's Lil Jewel. Looking to get a good launch in his Dodge Charger. The Chevrolet Monte Carlo starts on the right side of Chris Wolfson. Green flag is out. We're underway from Myrtle Beach.
An impeccable jump by the boss man, Lil Jewel hopping out to the lead, and Todd Liston follows behind him, now moving into the second spot. A good lead here for Lil Jewel. Now it's time to set the pace here, kind of start seeing how these guys are going to react, and of course make some moves here early on in the race.
Already side by side, Moore backing off and making contact for third. Wolfson hard into the wall. Caution flag is out as the Hamlin's Automotive number 17 demolished against the fence.
And you saw that coming off of 2. Donnie Moore got really loose for that first lap. Maybe just the cold tires there, and I just don't think he got that car straightened out enough going into the corner. 17 might have came down a little bit here, so you'll watch the 26 here get just a little bit out of shape on corner exit. Right there, has to get out of it. And I don't think he really got control of that car, and by time they got to corner entry into 3, the 17 car is making his corner, and Donnie Moore just was not ready to get that car turned in.
Well, that took about 2 to 3 laps. And Wolfson does have the option, if he wants to take a faster pair as talked about. Of note, Kurt Smith decided to come down to the pit lane. I think he just heard the advice you had in pre-race of going to the back.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that it might take a little bit longer for there to be an incident, but yeah, Kurt Smith taking a self-drive-through penalty, if you will. Maybe deciding, you know what, I want to play it safe. I've seen a few races here before this season, and Kurt Smith is just the guy to not have any good luck. So he's just going to go, you know what, let's take luck out of the equation. I'm just going to slide to the back, make sure I have that one faster pair in the back pocket in case something does happen.
Faster pair also being banked, by the way, by Wolfson, and he's actually been scored in front of him based on where they were at the time of the pit exit cone. And this is, again, the strategy we've seen many times by some drivers. Keep the faster pair, yes, with the demolished car even. Because you never know what's going to happen in the closing stage of the race, especially with what the expectations were tonight with what happened in the SK Modified race.
Exactly, and it also comes down to strategy, though, too. Okay, so you start in the back now, you're essentially last place early on. It's almost like you get a new qualifying position. What is your new strategy? Throw away whatever you had in mind before, and it comes down to, okay, I got to think now, what should I do in this situation? Because I'm stuck in it now. Do you try to take that fast repair, or are you going to try to run and gun your way back up front and possibly need it a little later?
We'll see as 1 to go. Pace car lengths are off. Jewel still in control of the field. Liston had a good start on the bottom side. He's stuck on the outside, though, alongside him. Moore, Shepard, Redding low. Pearson, Sagawa round out the top 8. Into the restart box. Green flag is out. Back on her way. Another good launch by Jewel.
Liston gets stuck on the outside as Moore looks to take advantage on the inside. Now white number 26, side by side going down the back straightaway. And if I'm the front of the field, I'm already getting annoyed. How is J.R. Shepard already up to 4th? We don't need him that high up in the standings this early on in the race.
We talked about the domination in terms of the amount of victories he's had in this series' history. He's won already both of the races this season. He's just been kind of treating the races, the longer it's gone, as a way to save tires for the ending of them because of that one tire set, that being the one on the car right now.
And on board right now with Shepard, look at how he just flirts with disaster. He has those tires almost right on the turtles, and you'll see here in 3 and 4, he gets so close to clipping this wall. Look at that. Look at how close he is. But even with how much input he's putting into the wheel, he's going to conserve a great amount of tire. That's just what makes him a great race car driver here in iRacing, is his conservation of tires, and we will see that as this race continues on.
And a crazy stat I found involving Shepard too is, as you may know, Road to Pro is one of the qualifying series to make it to the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series in 2019. When that series went to Dover, 8 of 138 drivers didn't have an incident point. Guess what? Shepard just so happened to be one of them who didn't have an incident point.
Just such a smart race car driver he is, and you see him now trying to hop to the inside here of Donnie Moore. Doesn't push the issue too much, knows how to conserve his tires, knows when to pounce at the right moment. Just a very smart driver behind the wheel, and that leads you to great results.
And you see the different lines come into play as both drivers bobble a bit off of 4. Moore making the top line work, being able to pinch off Shepard and get a good run down the straightaways. That time he says hello to the wall. Woo. Shepard up to P3. That opens up the door for Lowe.
Yeah, another name that you don't want to see already flirting inside that top 5 is James Lowe, now vying for that 4th position. But still, Lowell Jewell and Todd Liston have a sizable lead. Everyone is maintaining their gaps for the most part. So I think everyone's kind of calmed down just a little bit here, going to take it a little bit conservative. But by far, the 98 and the 99 are the lowest cars in the corners right now. They already look like they're trying to set themselves up for success for the later stages of this race.
I was about to ask with that line, do you prefer to use, say, the second groove like some of the drivers have been doing up at the front, such as Jewell? Or do you prefer this bottom like we're seeing Shepard and James Lowe having to do?
Personally, I would never want to run that inside because I know for a fact I'm either hitting the wall or I'm hitting the turtle. So I'd want to be a little conservative and move up the track. But when you're good, you're good. If the 98 and the 99 have the skill to do that, which they are obviously showing that they can, that's the fastest way around the track, and they're proving it right now.
Lowe still can't get clear, though, of Donnie Moore. Donnie Moore again pinching from the top side, trying to get the run on the bottom side. Still Lowe. Still can't shake him free, as Shepard's now put away by a couple tenths. Still side by side. And oh, by the way, they've actually been gaining time in this side by side for some laps here and there on Redding and company behind them. Finally, single file is Lowe up to 4.
And that's probably the best part about this short track, is usually there's just one lane on the inside. Here at Myrtle Beach, you have the ability to fight back on the outside. You don't always see that at short tracks. Donnie Moore tried to fight back a little bit there, but also Todd Liston has a very intriguing line, especially in 1 and 2, where he is almost diamonding. He enters high, exits low, and now is looking to the inside of Lowell Jewell here for the lead.
Peeking up at the front of the field, Liston's taken a few looks so far in the 87. Just can't get the run he needs to get that pass done. Just only gets to about the quarter panel, then back single file. They're back single file once again, running the 19.8s and 9s. Shepard, by the way, ran a 19.7 last time, Bob.
Yeah, these two behind him are catching up. You can't see it in the
wall.
rearview mirror. Yeah, a little bit of contact there. Doesn't look like it hurt him too bad. I don't think that was the corner entry that he wanted, but J.R. Shepard and James Lowe have caught on to the end of this train here, making it a 4-car battle as Liston is right there on the inside.
Trying to peek again to the bottom, sees the pressure, tries to cause his own for the race lead. Right next to the Turtles. Gives the squeeze, Jewel gives the squeeze back, holds on to the race lead once more. Here comes Shepard now for second.
Liston took his shot, and it might cost him here. That 98 car on the inside. Liston got a little bit too far outside of the groove, and now side by side, he might have to give up this position. Another question when you have these 100-lap races with no tire changes, how much do you want to fight early? Because that is going to dictate how much tire you have later in the race. Do you just give up here? Maybe not, because you might lose up to 3 or 4 positions as Liston is loose off of 4.
He nearly spun it right across the field. Gives Shepard second position, while Lowe clears himself for P number 3. So Liston all of a sudden slipping and sliding in his Chevrolet Monte Carlo as Lowe nearly says hello to the Ford in front.
Yeah, we've seen these two battle a little bit off and on throughout the past couple of seasons. J.R. Shepard and James Lowe have been the class of this field. But how about the boss man? Lowell Jewell out front still has led all going to be now 25 laps this time by. And now you have arguably two of the best in the series coming up to the head of the series. So you don't get this in real life racing. How hard do you fight against the admin here?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Mind you, this is one of the best runs Jewell's had this season. He had a good run, as we talked about, finished P8 at 5 flags. So he's got good pace, has been getting more and more consistent recently. But for that Project Healing Waters and Stone River Outfitters machine, looking really solid throughout this run early going. The question is going to be, can he carry it on to the final 25 laps?
And Lowell Jewell knows better than anyone just how good these two cars behind him are. And you got to wonder how he's going, man, I'm beating these guys right now. But right now,
wow,
Shepard takes the lead on the inside, and now it's going to be tough to hold back James Lowe as well.
I'm surprised of it, actually. He gave it to him. Gave him the inside and backed off. I think he felt he was holding them up. Now he's holding up Lowe, and they hit contact. Jewell shuffled up the racetrack. Lowe now up to second. That's half a second loss for the 99.
Well, I was going to say, back to my comment, essentially saying pick your battles. That might have been part of what he was doing there until he started giving Lowe a run for his money. Though I thought the 19 car there was trying to save up a little bit of tire. That was not the case, as now we have a yellow here on the track.
And it's Austin Belke at the back of the field in 12. His different look tonight in the DuPont Chevrolet. Spins out off of turn 2, and this is something drivers struggled with throughout practice. Corner exit and the looseness.
Absolutely. On the inside here of Joe Segala, you see him enter a little bit low. Sometimes that can mean a little bit too much throttle on entry. Sometimes that can mean too much throttle trying to get eager on the gas on exit there and just try to get on the gas too soon and loops it around. I don't think too much damage, so looks like going to be okay there for the 24 machine.
I don't think he got any front nose damage. Here's the look from Segala. Just able to avoid it nice and calmly. Moves Segala up to 11th position with that.
Yeah, so looking at Belke here, yeah, I don't think he has any damage up there on the nose, which I mean, obviously you don't need that car to be perfect on a short track, but net code giveth in that case for the 24 machine.
Chris Wolfson, meanwhile, will take a faster pair for the 17. He's now in his pit box, by the way. He had gotten into about 13th or 14th after that just before that last caution, rather. So the car had pace with the damage on it still. He's electing to take it now because that was already a long run of about 30 laps.
Yeah, and I think that has to come down to as well, does this car feel okay right now with the damage that it has? Maybe he just didn't feel quite comfortable with how that car was handling. He noticed, there's just something a little bit wrong. Okay, we're over 30 laps into the race. Let's get a fresh car and try to work our way through the field again.
So reset the top 5. Shepard, Lowe, Jewell, Liston, And quietly, Redding is inside the top 5. He's held on to that spot since the drop of the green flag just about in his 30 machine. Nice and consistent, has also held off Donnie Moore, who has been sliding through the pecking order, as we've seen from some of the looseness after being shuffled to the top.
For the most part, everyone's staying about where they started. Ruben Altice and Justin Morin have followed each other from 12th and 13th at the start to gain 5 spots. They're now in 7th and 8th, so besides that, besides your leaders now, everyone else kind of staying pretty calm in their starting positions.
67 to go this time by. Two of the series' all-time greats, Shepard and Lowe in control of the field, Joel and Liston, Redding and Moore inside the first 3 rows. Green flags out, back underway. Great launch for Shepard. Good launch by Lowe. He gets the bottom in 1 and 2.
A really good launch for Lowe. I was thinking Jewel might have had enough there on that restart to take that second position or at least force the 99 to be stuck on the outside, but not the case there, as these 2 leaders have now jumped away from the rest of the field.
Look at that Hornet's nest, though, for about 4 for 5th on back. Side by side, couple rows deep. Ready on the bottom side, Liston forced up to the top again. Also falling through is Ortiz, trying to battle with Donnie Moore, all while Morton's trying to find the fastest lane in that group.
Moore tried his best to try to find a lane to get to that inside, but Altice is not going to let up at this point in the race. Redding continues to move up as well, looking to the inside here of Todd Liston for that 4th position, but Liston too much speed on the outside on exit.
And he nearly hit the side door of Redding too to try and defend that position. Redding, though, loose off of 4. Moore still holding onto the quarter panel. Redding sends it hard, bobbles his right rear tire around to try and hold on to 5th and does.
And Altice just behind them, still trying to work on Donnie Moore for 6th position on the track right now. And don't forget, Justin Morton still watching this Hornet's nest continue to try to sort themselves out here on board with the 9 car. Got a pretty fun looking view here, a little bit of entertainment for the 9.
It's taking a bit of a higher line as it's once again 2 pickup sticks. His driver's hoping not to pick up bumpers, to say the very least. Redding wants to get by Liston. Moore still trying to defend with Altice on the bottom side. Again a bobble up of the front cars. Still side by side up the road in 4.
And this is where patience comes into play. Not overdrive the corner, not bring in too much gas and end up losing the rear end, not getting back on the gas too soon and whipping around, the rear end of the car as Altice pushes up a little bit on Donnie Moore, takes a position there, and now is on the inside of Todd Liston, trying to find another spot here and move his way into the top 5.
And Liston just hasn't had the chance to breathe, it seems. Other than maybe 15 laps on the bottom, he's been on the top line for just about this entire race. That can't be good for the tires, right?
Not at all. And you saw earlier the 87 up front trying to battle in a podium spot, but now just stuck on the outside. And again, it's picking your battles, but this is a battle you have to pick. Look at this train behind him of 5, 6 cars. You can't just let these guys go, otherwise you are going to lose way too much track position.
As mentioned at the top of the broadcast, Liston inside the top 5 of the first couple races of the points. Once again, nearly tank slapping the wall that time with Moore another send. As you can see, Ruben Altice has been able to get on by this group, is now single file, all while Liston tries his hand on the bottom side. Looks like Morton's also going to try and help the 26.
And you want to give the guy on the bottom a little bit of room, and sometimes that will mess you up on corner exit, but we've seen it in NASCAR all weekend at Kentucky. When you don't give that guy on the inside enough room and they get loose, they end up taking you out as well from them sliding and getting loose. And so it's kind of a balance when you're that outside car. You really want to fight for that position and you don't want to lose too much, but you can't pinch someone enough where they get loose and it takes you out as well.
Keep in mind, the leaders up in the front are separated by just 0.2 of a second. Lowe and Shepard have been single file away from this group. Lowe has nearly gone to the bumper a couple times to Shepard, but hasn't been able to get to the inside, all while these drivers have fought side by side. That's why this grouping has already fallen away by more than 3 seconds for the race leaders.
And this is just heartbreaking for Liston, now all the way back into 8th, and he's going to get a little bit of contention here from Bruce Pearson as well. Gets right up to the bumper, but thank goodness Todd Liston finally finds a spot, gets loose though off of 4. Oh, does a good job saving that car, man. And that's your answer right there. How much tire did he use? Quite a bit, trying to not fall back too far. And now Pearson is already back to the inside. More bad luck here for Todd Liston.
And this spot's important, mind you, too, for the overall complexion of the next race. As mentioned, a top 8 invert among the drivers compete in the next race. This potentially could be the pole at Stafford.
Exactly. It's a meaningful spot, that 8th place position. Obviously, you want to finish top 5, top 3, whatever, but the last thing that you want to do is finish outside the top 8. Even if you finish 6th, you will start at the worst 3rd for the next race. And how about these hungry guys behind them? Kurt Smith and Jeffrey Harden still going at it right behind them as well. Smith now looks to the inside.
Pearson up to 8th. Liston hit the wall down the front straightaway. That's where the ooh came from. Off to the bottom side. Once again goes the 44. That's Jeffrey Harding now looking to move into the top 10. A disastrous run for Liston. Able to defend back for 10 for now, but that car has not had a single chance to ride to the bottom since about lap 30.
And there's just nowhere to breathe right now. The outside is fight enough to fight someone off, but it's not fast enough to really contend for a position. And so that 87 car, he is just not going to have any tires here. We are only halfway through this race. He is just not going to have a good second half here with how much tire. He might have the cord showing when this is all said and done, even virtually.
Cross flags up in the air this time by for the race leaders. Again, Shepard and Lowe pulled away by 3 seconds from Jewel and Co. Stayed single file, traded fastest lap times throughout this to keep up with live timing and scoring. Go to GSRC.TV to keep up with where your favorite teams and drivers are across the racetrack tonight. On there you'll see, for example, the battle for 3rd is now side by side. Jules held on firmly to the final podium position, but Redding in that second group just sent it to the bottom side to take away P3 in the 30.
Almost looked like a slide job. He just had a lot of gas there on entry, slides up in front of the 19 to take over 3rd. Altice just not enough momentum to capitalize on the 19 being stuck on the outside, but Lowell Jewell, who had quite a gap over the rest of the field, is now starting to get engulfed in the rest of these drivers behind him. Altice, Moore, and Morton ready to pounce at any second.
Yeah, the pace has fallen off in this grouping, by the way, by half a second to the top 2. And Jules done a great job keeping the track position. But it looks like those tires have just started to fall off a bit, where he almost looked like he was pushing in some cases in this race.
Even here on exit, pushes up a little bit higher than the cars behind him on exit there. And this is just another case of having to adapt on the fly. When the tires start to wear out, the car feels almost completely different, especially once you're 54 laps into a run. And now you got to figure out, how do I run this car on these tires? You can see actually about all 4 of these cars kind of running a different line. Even Justin Morton back there just past Donnie Moore using the outside lane, and now is looking to take the battle to Altice on the outside as well.
Morton, he's been trying to follow different lines, has not pounced until now. Up the track goes Altice, slid hard up to the second groove. Morton from the 3rd groove tries to make the pass on the outside in turn 3. Still side by side for the TDR machine. Has the momentum though to make the pass. I think Morton might have saved the tires there. He's only a 1/10 of a second slower. In fact, near dead even with James Lowe and J.R. Shepard.
This is an impressive run. Someone making the high side work right now, at least for passes. Now moving kind of back down to the inside here to try to run down Lowell Jewell. The first guy to make the outside work there, and you gotta wonder, might that come in handy a little bit later on, as Jewell might attack the wall there. Now the 9 is ready to pounce for 4th.
He did take the wall, and here comes Morton. He wants another top 3 finish this season to the bottom side in his Chevrolet. Jewell, though, still pushing hard in the Dodge on the outside. Better run, though, for Morton again. Jewell pushes up the track. And you know something, Devin? If there's a caution, this gets interesting with the pace Morton's showing right now.
Absolutely. The 23-year-old from St. Louis is making a little bit of noise here. You gotta wonder if some of the guys behind him are starting to go, that's working right now. I think I need to try that, as Altice is kind of moving up under attack from Donnie Moore. You have to wonder, who saw Justin Morton gaining positions in a line that nobody else is running right now?
See some of the side-by-side, but here's the on-board with Morden. Take a quick listen for about a lap or so with how he's taking these throttle inputs. What it sounds like there, Devin, Morden's got his throttle points down to a near T on this track.
And he's gaining time on Michael Redding here, running a line different than what he ran to pass the other cars behind him. I mean, he's making this car work on a fixed setup almost anywhere that he wants. That is extremely impressive. Now trying to fight for third, but the one somewhat devastating thing that he's seeing right now is, where's the leaders? I don't see them. Oh, the rubber are straight away ahead right now. So even if he gets around Redding here quickly and saves up tires, he's going to need a caution to try to stack this field back up. Currently over 5 seconds behind your leader, J.R. Shepherd.
Absolutely agree, because if there is a caution, there's a chance he has a shot to try and win this race. James Lowe up the front just fell off a bit, though, slid up the track and lost 2/10.
And if a caution did happen to fall, say right now, Morden would restart on the outside. You know that Lowe is a fast driver, so maybe restarting fourth wouldn't even be that bad of a situation for the 9 car if a caution was happen to fall before he gets by Redding, which with his pace right now, it looks like he's going to get there to that 30 car.
Redding trying to check up off the corner. The hot pit media machine way up the track. Morden again nearly hits the turtles. Back side by side for the third spot. 5 seconds back for the race lead. Just can't force the mistake quite yet to get the pass down to the bottom compared to what he was doing before.
And there are still so many laps left in this race. About 34 laps to go. You don't want to use up all of your car fighting for third if you think you have a chance to beat the leaders. So another choice, how hard do you race against Michael Redding here if you do get that valuable caution? But how much do you want to use up those tires? How much do you need to conserve to continue running that outside lane and make up ground? A lot of questions running through my mind when it comes to that fast number 9 car. Right now, door to door with Michael Redding coming off of turn 2.
Redding not giving up very easily, to say the very least. Morden trying to let the throttle roll in. This time forced a mistake. Redding up the track nearly taps the wall. Way up the groove, up to the third line, and Morden takes away P3.
And that is all you need sometimes. That is an unforced error right there. Morden just running his line to 30, couldn't keep it low enough on the track, and that lets Justin Morden cruise on by. He has his eyes set on James Lowe, but that's only, of course, if he can still see that car over a straightaway advantage.
But that's part of the thing, too, I think Morden was trying to do. If he needed to get that pass done, he needed to apply the pressure and just pressurized Redding into the mistake.
Absolutely. You got to find a way to make moves happen, because we keep at least I keep talking about the potential of a caution. What if that never comes? Then do you use up all of your tires and then you don't get a chance to finish on the podium? Justin Morden has been impressive in this series. He is still in that points battle. Every spot matters, even if it's not contesting for a win necessarily tonight.
Let's take a look at the lap comparison, by the way, and as you can see, he's traded the times back and forth a little bit. He's lost some time with some of the battles that he had. Prior to that, though, he was a little bit quicker than James Lowe. Lowe, mind you, has fallen off to the 20.5s. Last time by, Morden set a 20.3.
Yeah, not bad laps there by Justin Morden. Speedy, it looks like, but with just how far Shepherd and Lowe have went, it's going to be tough to make up all that room here. Now we take a look at your leader, J.R. Shepherd, now a 2-second advantage to James Lowe, and that Sunoco machine still leading the way as he is very familiar with doing so in this series.
Lowe on his way to yet another series victory. Looking to go 3 for 3, does have traffic a bit up the road. If this race goes green, that could be a factor. Otherwise, though, it's been near picture perfect in the 20.4s. That is a 1-second fall-off rate compared to the start of the race. Some battles, though, starting to heat up, though, around 9th. They'll keep going back and forth for that spot. Jeffrey Harden trying to hold on to the top side in this battle.
And whoever can prevail here has a chance to fight Bruce Pearson for that valuable 8th position with the invert. That would make them the pole sitters next week. So whoever comes out on top here has a chance to try to run down that 96 machine just in front of them.
Very important to get this pass done. Harden lost a couple tenths last time by. They were both quicker, though, than Bruce Pearson, give or take. Or so, Belke by about 0.2 of a second. Again, though, stuck inside the wall. Scrapes it with the right side of the car. Here comes Harden to the bottom side. Nearly pushes up the racetrack. Still side by side, door to door.
The 45-year-old from California trying to get to the inside of one of the most famous California NASCAR driver paint schemes to ever run, but still, Harden just not enough speed on that inside to try to overtake and take over 9th.
Will be an X-Racer, and one of the first times tonight you've seen on the right side, there's damage to the door. That's how hard he stuck to that wall. And with these machines, because of how they are offset and twisted, if you snap against them, you can get stuck to the wall, and that's happened a couple of times. The first time we've seen the 24 now get damage from it.
Yeah, that is not fun. He got a little bit of luck not having that front end damage on that initial spin, but this time, not so much. We'll move a little bit further up in the pack, another side-by-side battle. Ruben Altice on the inside in the 11, trying to grab that 6th position from Donnie Moore on the outside in the 26th. Again, inside line prevailing here, Justin.
Yeah, and Moore has been floating around this spot of the grid all night long so far. Not giving this up easily, though. These two have been scrapping off and on since the green flag for this run. Under 20 laps to go this time by. Moore not giving up the ghost. Still wants to try and keep that high side on Altice.
I mean, he's been in that outside lane so much. I don't know how much rubber that car alone has put down in the inside lane. He must have found some sort of way to run that outside lane, how long he's been stuck out there. So, putting up a good fight here against Altice.
Car on the bottom, by the way. Works his local college in his community as the manager of housekeeping services. Looking to still keep it a nice and clean car for 6th position. No damage on that car. The ASPCA machine not giving up easily whatsoever on the 26th on the top still.
Still almost neck and neck. That outside lane might actually be getting enough rubber to up the grip level, gain a little bit of speed. Maybe, perhaps, I mean, it's just tough to run on the outside lane. There is enough here just to battle, but right now, you saw Justin Morton earlier use that to pass, and now Donnie Moore trying to fend off a pass might be able to hold off and try to take a position.
Yeah, been listening a bit to his throttle inputs in turn 2 especially. As soon as it's nearly clear, it seems like he punches the gas. Just enough to keep Altice down on the bottom side, not enough for him to clear. Right there, just stabs the gas, backs it off again, hits the gas again to corner exit.
He's been stuck up there for so long. I guarantee you he has found something. There's got to be some sort of speed up here, and I think that he has finally found that and is starting to make some waves. And while we do watch this battle, there's a tidbit that I need to say. For the past many laps, Justin Morton has been the fastest car on track by over a tenth almost every single lap, and he is only a couple tenths behind James Lowe now for the 2nd position.
Take a peek towards that way. Another 2 tenths gained on Lowe that time, another 10th on Shepard, to the point where, hello Morton. He's on the back bumper of Lowe already.
Still a long way to go to catch J.R. Shepard, but that's not the goal right now. The goal for Justin Morton is to pick up this 2nd spot, and if a caution does eventually show up, and there's Morton again running this outside lane different than when he's behind cars. Maybe that has to do with the air, Justin, potentially. Dirty air on the inside lane, and he's able to gain a little bit more, so he'll try to cross him over here off of turn 4. Interesting lane selection here by Morton, but it's certainly been working.
He's been using a lot of these lines to his advantage. Another diamond into the corner off 1 and 2. Lowe, he's burned up the right rear tire. Morton peaks to the high side, coming to 11 laps to go. 4-tire drip from Lowe. Morton peaks to the high side, checks up off the corner, peaks to the inside. Forced to check up again as Lowe bounces around the corner.
Low on the outside, Morton won't be able to take advantage though. This time off at turn number 2, loses a little bit of ground. Still trying to find his way around the 99 machine of James Lowe, but Morton has put on a phenomenal charge to make his way up through the field, trying to grab that runner-up spot, looking to the inside again. Oh, wow.
Kurt Smith brings out the caution after he spins down the back straightaway. And this race just changed.
And I know I said that Justin Morton did want to see a caution earlier. I think that he would have rather that gone green a little bit because he would have been restarting in second on the outside. That might have actually favored him. He'll have to restart on the inside of row 2 now as we watch Kurt Smith here on the GSRC replay machine. Just too much throttle on exit and into the wall he goes. Not as fortunate as Austin Belkey. A lot of damage there on the front end.
Yep, that time it's damage and he uses the tow truck. So pins him. Todd Liston, Mike Allen are the lap down cars. Oh man, this gets intriguing.
All right, well, let's just say the goal right now. Justin Morton's primary goal is get by James Lowe fast. If you are side by side with James Lowe coming off of 2, I don't think that there's going to be enough time to catch J.R. Shepard. Morton needs to take care of James Lowe quick if he wants a chance to catch J.R. Shepard. It would be completely different if that was, say, 2 more green flag laps and maybe he gets a nose on Lowe and he already restarts on that outside lane. But now he has the issue of he has to not only start behind Shepard, but he has to make the pass on James Lowe before they get to turn 3. So he has that optimal line going into turns 3.
Coming to 7 laps to go. With this caution, Liston did get the lucky dog, should note. Hasn't pushed the tires too hard. Looking at what may be a 5-lap shootout here to decide how this race goes tonight. And this will be another couple-lap dash on the evening. The SK Modified race came down to a 1-lap dash, Devin, after Shepard pulled as much as 9/10 of a second in that race during the green flag stints.
And this is all going to come down to Shepard. I mean, he's already shown that he can be up to 0.4 of a second faster than James Lowe. I don't even think that should be his primary concern right now. Don't fake out the guy on the outside of you. Try to fake out the guy behind you because I think Justin Morton right now is the primary antagonist to J.R. Shepard. If he can try to make Justin Morton sleep here on the start, he will have a much better chance of guaranteeing a victory.
Look at the biggest movers too. Morton had to go and pass 10 cars to get himself up to 3rd. Altice has already moved up +6. And Austin Balke with that caution is a +7. The biggest droppers, Liston, who got freight train from the bottom side the whole entire green flag run, got shuffled to near the back of the field. Also gaining positions, Harden in that run. Wolfson lost 9 spots, Sagawa lost 3. But 5 to go that time, looking like a 4-lap shootout to decide this race tonight.
How aggressive will the 9 car be? How aggressive will the 99 car be? Will we see Michael Redding, maybe even potentially Lowell Jewell, that your top 5 try to make some moves here late? This is going to be an intriguing start, and it's all going to depend on the jump that J.R. Shepard gets.
Pace car is off. Field bunches up. The Sunoco Ford in control of the field, Low on the outside. Morton and Redding round out row 2. Great launch for the bottom. Low caught sleeping. Contact from Redding as the green flag's out.
That could not have gone better for Justin Morton. Right on the rear bumper of J.R. Shepard coming off of turn number 2. The 9 car has 3.5 laps to figure something out to try to challenge the 98.
Can Morton rip away the race victory from Shepard? Peaks to the high side, checks up with 3 to go. Again moves up to the second groove. Shepard hugs the bottom side next to the turtles as Morton dives enough to 2.
And remember how far in front Shepard was from the 9 car. Shepard probably doesn't even know that this lane exists right now and is not only being utilized, but successfully utilized by Justin Morton. He might be looking in his rearview mirror and wondering what is going on right now. Why is the 9 car so high and able to keep up right now? But the 98, you have to wonder how much of a cruise control he was on in conserving tires. He still has a considerable gap as the 9 tried to get to the rear bumper.
White flag this time by Shepard. up in front by 0.2 of a second. Can Morton make the pass? Still hasn't been able to get side by side since the green flag. Morton gets loose off a 2. Shepard pulls the gap. It might be enough. One last send from the TDR machine. J.R. Shepard goes 3 for 3. He wins it at Myrtle Beach.
Just impressive there. J.R. Shepard holding off a hard-charging Justin Morton. I can't believe Morton in the first place was able to gain that many spots, but then Shepard hit his lines perfectly, saved exactly enough tire to hold off the 9 car, and brings home the win. Victory number 3 on the season. Victory, I believe that's number 19 now in this series.
He's put up some big numbers, won a vast majority of the races in this series. There's a reason he's one of the greats in series history in the Grand National machines. He'll get to burn it on down after another victory for the Sunoco Ford. That will take a quick step aside. Post-race coverage coming up in just a few moments here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Welcome back to Myrtle Beach Speedway. After what was an exciting finish between J.R. Shepard and Justin Morton, the Bootleg Racing League Grand National Series here on Global SimRacing Channel. Let's take a look at your race results as J.R. Shepard came away with the checker flag by more than 3 seconds. James Lowe, Donnie Moore, Penalties also rounding out the top 5. Austin Balke finishing 6th with Will Jewell rounding out the top 7. Chris Wolfson, if entered to the next round, likely to be in the pole spot after finishing in 8th after crashing early on in the race. Redding shuffled out during the final laps to P9. Joe Segella rounds out the top 10.
A tough night for Todd Liston. He winds up in the 11th position. Jeffrey Harden comes home in 12th. Bruce Pearson brings it home 13th. Mike Allen ends the night 1 lap down in 14th. And late race issues for Kurt Smith rounds out your 15-car field here at Myrtle Beach Speedway.
Once again, this series sponsored by The Cruise Shop. Call them today at 260-755-6125 for your next trip. With that, I believe it's time for a bit of a trip towards the pit lane after some exciting battling amongst some of the top drivers tonight. Justin Morton now joins us in the broadcast booth. First things first, Justin, hard-fought race to get up plus 11 over the course of 100 laps. How are you feeling?
I was feeling pretty good at the end of that race. I think I managed my tires pretty good and kind of showed right at the end where I was able to keep up with JR.
Was going to say, you found a different line, it seemed, than everybody else. Saved a fair bit of tire on the short run, and then found the middle line and diving in the corner. How did you figure out that line, and how difficult was it to try and consistently hit it to have the pace you were having?
Yeah, I kind of picked up that line in our street stock race that we ran before this. That line kind of worked, so I figured I'd try it in the K&N car. Worked in practice, and kind of just found my groove, hitting it.
How difficult was that battle for the race victory, though? Because you got a perfect launch. The top line was caught sleeping. You just couldn't get side by side with Shepard.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping I would be able to get to the outside starting second, but I couldn't get around to James in time before the caution came out. But when I saw the caution come out, I knew I had a pretty all right chance of being able to race with the JR, and I thought I had him going into I think it was turn 3 on the first lap.
Now, the next race on the calendar is Stafford. Your thoughts on going to that racetrack on July the 18th?
Yeah, Stafford's been a rough one for me, but I've had some pretty good races there, so I'm looking forward to it.
Who do you want to thank for being a part of your second place run tonight?
I'd like to thank my team, Total Downforce Racing, Black Fox, Pixel Dust. They do awesome paints for us. Lowell, thank you for running the league, and Cruise Shop for sponsoring us, and thank you guys for broadcasting.
Congratulations on second tonight.
Thank you.
That's Justin Morning coming home in second this evening. James Lowe ran in second much of the evening, but fell off in the second half of the race. Devin Henry standing by with James Lowe, who finished in P3.
Yeah, Lowe has to settle for third place, but still a good night coming up from 7th position. James, what else did you need there? It seemed like in the middle of the race, J.R. Shepard found a 5th gear or something there.
Yeah, there was a point when I was right behind him. I knew I had to get around him and kind of dictate the pace there. And so I gave him my all there. But at one time I went high. I went in there a little too deep and hurt the right front. And from there it was a struggle bus. But from there we were just trying to hold on to what we had.
It's just such a difficult track here at Myrtle Beach. And of course, unfortunately, we'll be losing this track here soon, at least in the physical world, but we still have it here virtually. How has this track treated you? What are your thoughts here on Myrtle Beach, at least on the iRacing platform?
It's win or lose here. I have good weeks and bad weeks. Tonight, the starter races didn't go too well. So I was hoping to have a good finish here with this race, and luckily we were able to pull it off.
Yeah, bringing it home in third, still a spot on the podium. Who do you got to thank for bringing it home third tonight?
Yeah, I just like to thank my team, Balls Out Racing, Love Jewel for putting all this on, Cruise Shop for sponsoring us for so long, and you guys for broadcasting, and congrats to JR. He drove a great race.
James Lowe still in that title hunt, bringing it home third tonight. James, congrats on the finish.
Appreciate it.
And now we will catch up with your winner tonight. J.R. Shepard is with Justin Prince.
Yes, indeed. JR, another strong performance. How are you feeling coming home with another victory, your third of the season already, and what is already approaching your 20th career victory in the series?
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It's pretty rewarding at a track like this. It's a real gritty racetrack, real rough, so it's like a cheese grinder, and it'll wear the tires out. So I knew from the very beginning that out of all the tracks we run during the season, this was going to be the one you got to manage your tires the most.
How difficult was that? Because you did gain some ground on Lowe. Then right before the caution, by the way, Myrtle was 1/10 of a second quicker than you.
Yeah, I ran a little bit harder at the beginning than what I wanted to, just because I was having to make sure that James didn't get a good run on me. I was trying to save the tires and take care of them, and I knew he was trying to push hard to get in front of me. And there at the end, once I caught lap traffic, I was backing off a little bit. So Justin did a great job saving his tires. If he had been up there late in the race while it was still green flag, it'd have been close.
I was going to say, what was going through your head once you've seen the different lines he was taking, using the diamond line rather than the bottom line you were using?
Yeah, I don't like using it in these cars at this track. It works good when you're trying to pass somebody for sure, but I don't like the way it does in these cars. It gives you a false sense of security, and then up off the corner you tend to get loose. So I was trying not to run that. Plus, you lose a lot of time getting into the corner, and I knew the bottom was where I needed to be.
Now, one thing I do want to ask real quick as well is this track is closing next month. in the real world. It is, however, of course, getting preserved in the iRacing service. How has this track treated you in your career on iRacing?
I've really enjoyed it because it's one of those tracks, like Rockingham or Darlington, where it's like a cheese grater, and the pace fell way off from where we started. We were like a second and a half slower at the end of the race than where we started. So that's it's really fun as a driver, where you have to drive the car and take care of it, and not overstep it getting into the corner. So it's a shame to see a track like this go in real life, but thankfully we got it here on iRacing.
Second to last question. Stafford's next on the calendar. Your thoughts on going to that track?
It's been a good track in the past. It's another one of those where you gotta take care of your tires up off the corner, because there's not a whole lot of forward bite, but there's a couple of unique lines you can run there, and usually puts on a pretty good show for us.
Who do you want to thank for getting the job done tonight?
Yeah, just give a shout out to the Bootleg Racing League for doing this each and every Saturday, and the Cruise Shop for being a great title sponsor. So it's been great having them on here, and hopefully we can keep things like that going forward.
Congratulations on the victory tonight. Another dominating performance.
Yep, appreciate it, guys. Thanks for broadcast.
That's Sheriff Shepard coming home with a third straight victory, leading 73 of 100 laps tonight. I'd like to thank him, along with second place finisher Justin Morton and third place finisher James Lowe, for taking the time to speak with us during post-race coverage here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Now, first things first, Evan, your final thoughts on seeing racing at this historic venue, and what was a great finish to the checker?
Absolutely, and like I mentioned earlier, being from Arizona and losing a track like Manzanita Speedway, such a spectacular track, it just makes you feel bad for all those who grew up going here, where this was their playground for so many years. That's home to just such great racing, losing such a, forget even historic, just such a great racetrack at the end of the day. And then you add all the history. Obviously, just a shame to lose another phenomenal raceway, another phenomenal grassroots track on this planet. It's just kind of a shame, but I did find it interesting what Justin Morton said, finding his line from the street stock race earlier in the day. Last night in the dirt street stock race that we had here on GSRC, the winner, John Hine, actually mentioned that he got his race winning line from racing a sprint car at Knoxville and then took that into the dirt street stocks. I wonder if we might see a little bit more of that as the season goes on, guys taking lines from other forms of racing and taking that into the Grand National cars and finding some speed. I'm really curious about that.
I am too, and what are your expectations when we go to Stafford next week?
More short tracks, more conserving your tires. Obviously, a guy like J.R. Shepard knows how to conserve those tires, as he did so here at the most difficult track to do it, against a guy who found a new line to try to pass everyone on the track and was successful in doing so. I would be interested. I think someone might find a magic line like Justin Morton did, because they know if you can catch up to J.R. Shepard, hey, at least you have a chance at the end to try to steal a win away from the all-time winner in this series.
A very fun race tonight here on the Global SimRacing Channel. One thing to note before we say our thanks, are you looking to take advantage of GSRC's over 1 million global monthly impressions? From official series sponsorships to commercial placements, we have advertising options customizable to suit your company's needs. Follow the link in the description to this broadcast tonight on YouTube to find out more. With that, we'd like to thank you for tuning in to tonight's exciting action from Myrtle Beach. A very historic track and a very exciting finish as these drivers slipped and slided their way to the checkered flag. We'd like to thank Bootleg Racing League for organizing this exciting series, as well as the Cruise Shop for sponsoring this premier series here on the Global SimRacing Channel. We'd also like to say thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast, listed up on your screen now. Additional thanks to Jude Lawn, who provides her wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a more hold of her great work. Thanks to the team today, and Devin and Sean. If you'd like to help out the channel and find more races on GSRC, when upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can check out our merchandise for sale at gsrc.storemvy.com. Check our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global SimRacing Channel, or Instagram at GSRC_Gram. Don't forget to head over to our YouTube page and hit that big red subscribe button, as well as the notification bell, so you don't miss a moment on the Global SimRacing Channel. As talked about during post-race coverage, Stafford Motor Speedway is the next track on the docket for the series. That is on July the 18th. Be sure to tune in for what should be an entertaining race. Stafford has put on some great virtual events throughout the spring and summertime. Can't wait to see how the Grand National cars do battle there. We also have plenty of upcoming hour races for other series listed up on your screen, so check those out as well and mark them down your calendar. Until next time, race clean, race hard. See you on the track.